It's great to see everybody here tonight. My name is Clayton and I'm both honored and humbled to speak to you about Mike and Meredith. Let's raise a glass before we start to Mr. and Mrs. Hoyle and Mr. and Mrs. Cordingley for their generosity and hospitality. Hear, hear. Your impact in Mike and Meredith's life is so extraordinary. We've all heard the pride-filled stories about Taylor from Aunt Meredith and Uncle Mike. And we all know about the love and support that Mike and Meredith have for Cheryl. It's a hallmark of the Cordingley family. Your love as parents has really strengthened their relationship. Well, tonight, it is indeed a tall order to speak to you about the story of Mike and Meredith. Not only because their love shines so brightly in all of our lives, but because no one, and I mean no one, wants to hear me tell a story. To that end, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great privilege to call to the stage everyone's favorite doctor, Mr. Matthew Holmes.
Thanks, Clayton. Appreciate it. Good evening. My name is Matt Hulse. I'm also one of the groomsmen. I'd like to echo Clayton in thanking Mr. and Mrs. Hoyle and Mr. and Mrs. Cordingley and of course Mike and Meredith for giving us such a great excuse to bring together all those friends and family and have a good time. I'd also like to thank Mike and Meredith for hilariously choosing the two groomsmen who know the most about stable monogamous relationships.
You know, I've known Mike. You know, we're really not that bad.
Like, come on, we make the Kardashian relationships look genuine. I love them.
Well, you know, Matthew, just because we're single this late in life doesn't mean that any of the respectable women here, wouldn't date us.
That's true. I mean, you are a lawyer.
And you are a doctor.
I've known Mike for quite some time. I don't know exactly when we met, but I think it was sometime in elementary school revolving around the fact that we always dated the same chick. Hey, Alita! We were on Mr. Gilly's baseball team together. In middle school, our friendship survived near suspension when our boy band took their shirts off on stage, revealing poorly filled out wife beaters. And fate, it seems, has a sense of humor because we returned to the stage a few years later for the Mr. Oakton contest, where apparently taking your shirts off is just fine. And not even going to different colleges put a dent in the relationship, which is fortuitous because that's actually the time when a lot of us were able to meet Meredith.
You know, those road trips that we all took to Blacksburg, Harrisonburg, and Richmond are just a small glimpse from the story of things, but they exemplify why Mike and Meredith are so special to each of us. Their adventures demonstrate why they enjoy one of life's greatest blessings, and that's an enduring friendship. Both of you brought to this relationship the most extraordinary, lasting friendships, and each of you goes to great lengths to emphasize and to develop those friendships that one another has brought. You are each other's joy. You are the catalyst for each other's happiness. And in turn, you brighten each of us as a result. You probably noticed that having a groom's side and a bride's side wasn't really necessary. And that's because Mike and Meredith have taken the time to make each of us part of their family together. Through our road trips, through our annual St. Patrick's Day celebrations at the Hoyles' house every Labor Day, trips together to MLS games and World Cup games. We've had some great times together with all the stories and adventures that come along with those. And each of you is the reason behind that. So thank you very much. At some point, we all went from being Mike's friends and Mare's friends to a family.
Anyways, back to the good stuff. So I first met Meredith on one of the road trips to JMU. It was in college, and it coincided with my Thanksgiving break, and also happened to coincide with a performance by Mike's a cappella group, Exit 245. Yeah, as you can hear, many of the guys are my friends now and amongst you here in the audience, and for those of you unfamiliar with Exit 245, basically what it is a group of guys who love to pick up chicks and happen to be able to carry a tune. And apparently Mike's little scheme worked because after the performance he said that he was going to introduce me to a girl. awesome, I thought. I couldn't wait to hear what screaming lunatic fan that you had in store for me, but in one of the most epic non-disappointments of all time, you introduced me to Meredith. And two things became apparent very quickly. One, she's gorgeous, clearly. And two, she was really cool, which sent up a lot of red flags because those things aren't found in the same chick very frequently. So I immediately thought, I wonder what's wrong with her. But almost a decade later, I'm still searching. Her coolness was certainly solidified when Clayton said she did take part in a lot of these road trips. Foolishly, and I use that word because if you take any one of us friends who's been doing that as an individual, we're pretty mellow and cool and easy to get along with, but you put us all together and drive us around Virginia in a van, sleeping on dorm room floors and partying like Motley Crue, well, you might as well have just locked yourself in a cage with crack-addicted monkeys. So she did it. She did it with a smile on her face, and she blended seamlessly into a group of friends who had known each other their entire lives and probably out-partied a few of us too.
You know, it's true, we all know the stories of Mike and Meredith. They've had some great adventures together. But what we all kind of realize too is that they demonstrate that Meredith really, really loves Mike. Meredith loves the beach, so Mike moved to Indiana. Meredith loves the ocean. Mike likes being under the umbrella. Meredith loves the sun, and Mike took her to Sweden, where the sun shines for 4 hours a day.
In speaking of their travels, Mike and Meredith have been all over the world together, whether it's Germany, Sweden, DC, or now Indiana, or one of the places listed on your table. I think that their love for traveling together is really telling of their relationship. It shows their values of wanting to experience the world together, growing and changing with their relationship, and really supporting each other along the way. So it came as no surprise to me when about a year ago I heard that Mike had proposed and Mike and Meredith were officially engaged, and I thought the same thing as I'm sure all of you thought. I hope it's a boy. Strangely, we celebrated at a bar that night, and that was about 12 months ago, so I think I need to freshen up on my OBGYN knowledge. But I'm glad you did, man. As I said, Meredith's quite a catch. She's loving, supportive, funny, and of course beautiful. She deserves a wonderful husband, which is why I'm glad you put that ring on her finger before she was able to find one.
Well, we're gonna stop soon, I promise. But in my part of the closing, I do want to say very clearly that Michael, you are the consummate friend. Devotion and loyalty don't adequately describe the love that you show for your family and friends. And your love together brightens all of our days. Your stories and adventures are both the joy and the envy of your friends. Congratulations.
And I'll leave you with, in speaking of your travels together, I fortunately had the opportunity to have a Euro trip about mine about a year ago, and traveled to Munich, and I learned an old German drinking song, which I think is very appropriate for this occasion. And the first part of the song is a toast which you say to a cherished friend or a loved one, and it starts, "Ein Prosit mit Gemütlichkeit." And if you type that into Google, it actually translates into "Cheers to Gemütlichkeit." I guess Google's not good with abstract nouns, but what it means is a carefree, loving, carefree state of mind. So, in closing, Mike, Mayor, we love you guys very much, and we wish you all the Gemütlichkeit in the world. Cheers!